Stock photography is just photos that anyone can purchase any number of times. It's not like a portrait of a human being where why would I buy that portrait of you? I would never buy that. Like, why would I need to do that? But stock photography could be of anything. And it's something that multiple people can purchase and you can make money off of forever for the rest of your life. If as long as those photos are valid and you still like them and it still serves your audience, you could sell them forever.
Hey, welcome to the Beginner Photography Podcast. I'm your host, Raymond Hatfield, and each week I interview one of the world's most interesting photographers to learn what it really takes to capture beautiful images so that you can start to do the same. In today's Rewind episode, I'm chatting with stock photographer Rosemary Watson about creating visual stories. But first, the Beginner Photography Podcast is brought to you by CloudSpot. With CloudSpot, you can sell your photos through prints, products, and of course, digitals. You can set up a storefront in minutes and start earning more with every gallery you send. So grab your free forever account over at deliverphotos.com and only upgrade when you are ready. So stock photography isn't one of those genres of photography that I think people aspire to be when they, quote unquote, grow up. But as you get older, you gain more life experience, you find these little niches of the world and you just kind of fall in love with them. Personally, as a kid, you know what I hated? Mowing lawns. Today, in the spring and summer, I look forward to every single Sunday and Wednesday for when I now mow my lawn. Again, you grow up and you find these little niches of the world to fall in love with. And for today's guest, Rosemary Watson, it's stock photography. So even if you're not a stock photographer, there's a lot in this episode just for you. Like how to create visual stories through your photos, how you can experiment with stock photography to try new creative ideas, and how to organize your ever-growing photo library. So like I said, there's a lot here. And remember, the listeners who get the most out of each episode are the ones who actively listen and find just one thing that resonates with them, and then they take action. Listening to the Beginner Photography Podcast should not be a passive experience. So take this time for yourself today seriously. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get on into today's interview with Rosemary Watson. I want to know, first and foremost, before we even get into you, what is stock photography?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So stock photography has been around for actually a really long time. Before I even got into it, I felt like more of a corporate thing. It was definitely more of like people taking pictures of I don't know, very corporate situations that big companies would use. So someone like Microsoft needs photos for their website, and it's a lot of things that are very general, right? It's like kids playing ball in a park or a dog running for whatever it is. A hotel might need something for their website. And so it's, again, very general, nothing very specific. And so there were some sites that had it back then, which was, I don't even know, maybe 10 years ago, let's say. It would be very corporate and commercial. And it wasn't until someone, Shay Cochrane, whatever, however you say her name, she was the first person I ever saw doing something different and doing something more styled, where it felt more just like lifestyle, more personal, more something that an everyday person would need. And so I was seeing, as a photographer, I started out doing portrait photography, really focused on senior portraits, really focused then on like glamour portraiture. So taking moms, making them look like models for the day, getting gorgeous photos of them, and then bringing in their families, the whole Sue Bryce methodology of that. I did that for a really long time and I loved it, but I started realizing that I needed more content. And so as I was writing blog posts and doing these things, I needed photos. And so I was so busy with my own business stuff, like taking portraits of people, that I was like, oh gosh, do I really need to go out there and take more photos for myself for my blog? So I would look online and try to find these photos. And I found Shay Cochrane and I loved her stuff, but it was like $50 an image, $80 an image. And I was like, awesome, but I can't afford that. I'm sure people can. I'm sure there's people out there that are doing big things and can afford that price point.
Especially businesses, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. That's just not me. I'm just this startup freelancer photographer. I can't, I'm doing a blog post a week. That's 52 weeks times 50 images. I can't do that.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So I was like, you know what? I have a camera. I'm just going to set aside a little bit of time to start taking these photos. And so stock photography is just photos that anyone can purchase any number of times. It's not like a portrait of a human being where why would I buy that portrait of you? I would never buy that. Why would I need to do that? But stock photography could be of anything. And it's something that multiple people can purchase and you can make money off of forever for the rest of your life. As long as those photos are valid and you still like them and it still serves your audience, you could sell them forever. And so styled stock, I feel like, is just a little bit different. It's something that you're actually taking control of and styling the setup and then taking a photo of that. It's not just like going out into the desert and taking a picture of a cactus and then selling that. You can do that. Styled stock to me is more like you are controlling the environment. You're styling it to a certain aesthetic. You're taking a photo and it's really like niche down to one specific audience. So that's where I saw it. My need was totally personal. I was like, cool. I took these photos from my blog. They're great. People like me probably need this same thing. So I'm going to just find a platform. Creative Market was there. And I started using it to sell my photos that I took for my own blog, but to the public. That's what styled stock is. Yeah.
Styled stock. Okay. That's a term that maybe I just didn't dig deep enough, but that's exactly what I was looking for, because I could tell when looking online that there's definitely
a difference.
Yeah. Different styles of stock photography. Styled stock. Okay. I'm going to have to remember that for the rest of these questions. Perfect.
Yeah. And I myself have purchased tons of stock photography since then. Like I might need for a client, they might need like a landscape of Phoenix. Like I built a website for a realtor. I don't have a drone. Like I'm not going to go do that, you know? So I had to go online and find a stock photo of the Arizona landscape.
Cool. That just brought up an interesting question that we'll have to get to here in a bit.
Yeah.
But you talked a little bit there about how you were already shooting like portraits and stuff. Let's take one step back from that. How did you get your start in photography?
So I started out being kind of like the brand manager of my mother-in-law's furniture store, and she had purchased a digital camera for just taking photos of the store. It was like one of the earliest Rebels, Canon Rebel, super not fancy. She gave it to me to take photos of her products for the store. And then I just took it home and I started taking pictures of my kids, taking pictures of just all the different things that I could find. And my mother asked me, like, can you take senior pictures of your sisters? Because my sisters were all starting to graduate. And I said, sure, I'll do that. So I did them. And then I had their friends ask me. So it just kind of snowballed more and more. And I really loved it. And she's one of my clients, a furniture store. Now that my business has kind of morphed into more production, like a full production company instead of just photography, and I focus on businesses more, I still had a huge start doing the senior portraits. And then of course I did all the things, right? I did babies, I did weddings, I've done birth photography, gone in when people were giving birth, I've done all of the things. And so it's just, I feel like for photographers, we're so good at this where we'll do anything. And then it really will direct us. The clarity comes from doing the things, right? We find what we love. We find what clicks. We find what's the least stressful. I loved weddings, but it was so high stress for me that I was like, I just can't do this anymore. It's just, I'm having a panic attack all day, every day.
Oh man, that's so interesting to hear. I love that. I always love, that's why I love this podcast, because it's so many different views of how something is. Because for me, the idea of stock photography is is this in the right place? Should this be a different camera angle? There's so many more variables, it seems like. For me, whereas weddings, it's I know there's going to be a kiss. I know they're going to get ready. I know that there's going to be some dancing. It doesn't seem very high stress to me, but we're kind of the opposite there.
Oh,
I love
gosh.
that. I love that.
Yeah. So for me, I'm also more of an introvert. And so those days, being in front of human beings and just having to talk all day and giving direction, it was literally just draining me dry. And so I just realized on the days where I was doing styled stock, it was so peaceful. I was by myself. I was able to gather whatever the props I needed. So if the theme was baking for the day, I would go to Target. I would grab all of the measuring cups that were gold. I would grab some flour at Trader Joe's. I would get cookies at a bakery and I would set it all up and I'd have music playing. I was like, this is the life. I'm not dealing with clients. I'm not dealing with anyone. And I love my clients and I still am service based. And I have friends, my friend Jana at Twiggy Post, she is not a service based business. She's purely digital product. And I can see where it's just so calming. You only have to please yourself. And of course, give the people what they want, right? If your audience is requesting more images of something, yes, you want to make sure, but it's still you're the boss. Terms. It's on your terms. Yeah. You do it when you want. And so to me, I was like, this is awesome. This is so much more chill. I can control the environment so much better.
I love that. I want to know, in your own words, you kind of talked a little bit about this there in the intro, but I want to know more about what is it that a stock photographer delivers? What are the photos for? You mentioned there, Microsoft could need photos or whatever, but looking at your photos, they're definitely more creative. Are you trying to sell photos to bloggers or businesses? Do regular people just need stock photos?
So I think everyone needs them, but they might not know it. And it's funny because I get stopped all the time. I'll be at Trader Joe's and get all these tons of flowers, tons of stuff. And they're like, oh, are you having a party? I'm like, no, this is just for a shoot. And I have to explain what I do. And people are like, that's a job? Yes. And then they're like, but who buys? I don't understand. You take a picture of your laptop, but who's buying them? I'm like, everyone. Because if you are a human being that creates content, if you are someone who is trying to sell something, and if you're not, if you're just trying to be a storyteller and talk about yourself online, if you use Instagram, if you use Facebook, if you create ebooks, everyone needs photos for all of these things. And taking selfies of your face every time is not going to really convert that well after a certain amount of time. So, oh gosh, what was the original question? I completely lost as I was talking into this.
I guess
Is
I'm
like,
just
what
trying
is
to get
it for?
an idea of the size of who needs stock
Oh,
photography.
okay, yes. So for me, when I first started, it definitely was like, this is completely self-serving. Like, I just need photos for my own blog. And so if people like them, cool. If they don't, fine.
Yeah.
Like, that was not my moneymaker at all. So I was like, I'll just throw them on. But it did start making more money. And I did start like realizing like, oh, there's a little bit of a pattern. Like people are buying more of the desktop scenes. And so for me, when I would get kind of feedback and kind of do some research on who was buying them, it was definitely business owners. It was online business owners that were purchasing these images because they just wanted to be a business coach. They didn't want to learn how to do photography. So they were just buying all of those. But definitely I can see now that I've been doing this for a while, I've had my subscription for 3.5 years. It was 3 years in September. And then I have had my creative market shop for a little bit longer, so for like 4 years. And there's definitely, I see a place where I could be more niche or niche or however you say that. And you can just serve people a little bit better than being so broad because so many people started doing it. And that's great. Like I think there's space for every human in the world to do stock photography because there's so many viewpoints. Just like you love weddings and I don't, you could do stock photos for wedding people. Like your whole thing could be like, I'm just going to do bouquets, I'm going to do vendors, I'm going to do whatever, sell them online. And like a florist could buy those, even though they're not her flowers, she could use them on her website because it kind of articulates what she does, or she could put them on Instagram or she could put them on Facebook. So I think everyone should do it. But I think that now that so many people do it, it's so much harder to kind of stand out in your industry. So if you do focus on one thing, like I'm going to be a stock photographer for hairstylists. So what am I going to create and what's the shop I'm going to build and what's the audience I'm going to speak to in my content? The more focused in you can be, I think it's going to be easier for you instead of just trying to get photos of everything and just hoping someone buys them,
Yeah.
which is what I did when I started out.
I think that's probably what, I mean, you said that that's what you did even in terms of just photography in general when you first started off doing
Yep.
newborns, weddings, portraits, all these things. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So like obviously being like very niche down, whenever like I send photos of a bouquet or something to one of the vendors at a wedding, they always are so appreciative because
Oh, yes.
they can create these beautiful bouquets, but being able to shoot it in a beautiful styled way is
Right.
a whole nother thing, and for them to be able to share that is really helpful. So I
Absolutely.
think we hear that like 99% of photographers don't send vendors their photos, which is fine. Like if that's what they want
What?
to do. Yeah, it's a lot of like it's a lot of photographers who don't send like wedding vendors
Oh,
photos, which
that's
is a huge
insane.
missed opportunity. Huge missed
Oh,
opportunity.
that's insane. Okay, is it okay if I go on a little weird
Of
segue and
course,
tell a
yes,
little
please.
story? So that is actually how I became, like my business completely changed into business to business and into a production company. So I started as Rosemary Watson Portrait. I was doing all these portraits of beautiful people, and then I was doing weddings, and I was doing a lot of bridals. So I would do, instead of doing the wedding, I would have the bride come in, we'd do her hair and makeup. She'd have a bouquet, like an extra spare bouquet from her like florist. It would almost be like a trial run for her, and then we would do portraits of just her.
That's a great
And
idea.
it was amazing. And it's big here because we have a very LDS population, a very large LDS population here. And that was something that is like classic and traditional in their religion is they'd have these weddings and it was at their temple. And so we would do bridals of just the bride before. So I was doing a lot of those. And so they'd have these florists and I would send the photos to the floral designers. And one in particular was like, can you come and just shoot me creating these? Like, can you help me with my website because you did your own website? Can you help me next time I do a wedding, do more like behind the scenes shots? And then we started doing more styled photos together with seniors. And it was just a good partnership. And I just was like, I love this. This is so fun. Like helping these other business owners do these things. And like, yeah, of course the models or the brides or the seniors got these portraits and they were awesome. I just was like, I'm making so much more money on the back end of this shoot with this business owner because people are so much more willing to spend money on a business than they are for themselves, I think. Even moms spending money on their daughters, yeah, they'll spend more money. But when you try to get a mom to buy like a huge portrait of herself, it's much a harder sell for me than to tell this business owner, hey, let's get together, let's shoot a bunch of photos. I'll help you put them on your website. I'll show you what to do on Instagram with them. I'll help you put them on your Facebook header and you'll be good to go. They would pay me way more money than
Right.
this mom or this woman who just taking photos of herself. And so I was like, I think this is something that I want to pursue more and do more of. And it just kept coming. And that's how my whole business transitioned from portraiture to business, like completely focused on business photography. And then I shifted and just I have a production company. So I produce all kinds of content and a whole bunch of different things for people that own businesses.
Yeah, you're totally right. As somebody who, I'm way more willing to spend money on my business than I am
Yes.
in my own personal life. And even before, when we were talking about growing a list and having some sort of marketing, it's like that number of how much you're willing to spend. Sometimes it's hundreds of dollars a month. It's like, I would never spend
Do that.
hundreds of dollars a month. Like, I can't think of anything. Like, even TV.
No.
It got to the point to where TV was like $140 a month, and we're like, screw that, we're cutting it
Yeah,
out.
cut it.
Yeah,
Cut
but
it
when it
out.
comes to business, it's like, let's do it. Then we gotta get the card.
We're just going to do it again. Yeah, no, 100% because they can see the return on investment, right?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
the only return on investment for like the people is of course memories, and that's huge. Like memories are humongous and it's worth it and it's valuable, but it's valuable to different people, right? Like other different people value that differently. I think everyone that's a business owner can value anything that makes more money in their business. It's simple. That's a simple sell.
Yeah.
Because everyone cares about that. If you own a business, you care that it makes money.
Everybody wants it to be successful.
Everyone wants it to be successful. There's not some people that are like, well, yeah, I mean, I do want more money, but not that much. It's like, no. They all want money.
Yeah.
Like they all want it. And so if you can give them something that they can see concretely, like helps them and saves them time, saves them headaches, saves them training they have to do themselves on their own camera, and will make them more money in their business because it elevates their brand and they're using it in their marketing, 100% it was so easy to sell that.
Absolutely. I could totally see that. And so you must have seen like a lot of stock photos, either from when you first started. I'm sure that if you look back at some of your photos, like we all do, we kind of cringe inside a little bit.
Hate them.
And now when you look at stock photos from other beginners or amateurs, I guess, what's the one thing or what's the telltale sign of like an amateur stock photo?
Oh, I think the hardest thing, well, not the hardest thing, but the thing with this is, I really do believe that every single person should be creating stock photos. So even if all you're doing is getting your iPhone and doing like a picture of maybe you at a certain coffee place that you really love and you love the vibe there and you go there all the time and you just like want to capture that essence and share it online, I feel like you should do that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. I'm way less more about like technique and stuff. I think the telltale sign of something that might not be super successful is something that doesn't tell a story. So if it's something that's going to tell a story, you have to think of the end user when you're doing this, right? Again, I didn't. I was like, I need this for me, but it still told a story because I needed it for my own content. So I wasn't thinking about someone who was purchasing my photos necessarily, but I definitely was thinking about someone reading my blog. If you're thinking about the people that are going to be looking at this, what is the emotion that you're trying to engage with these people? Because emotions change thoughts and then thoughts change actions. So if it is something that, let's say you're trying to tell a story of someone who needs help. You're working with a business coach or you're like, I want to shoot something for business coaches. And the people that they're trying to help, they have this problem and they're trying to get to this solution. What can I take photos of that's going to help them convey that message? So thinking about the messaging is the one big thing that professionals do. At least I do. And I know the other people that I've talked to, they do this, is they're like, what is the story we can create with our visuals for the people that are buying these things?
Yeah. It's like a game changer right there. That's like when you really think about that and frame your photos around that, that can really change everything. Mm-hmm. That's so great.
And you can tell that just such a rich story with it, right? Yeah. So if you were like, I need mock-ups of iPhones and you lay them down on just like a white table, I have a white table right here and I just took a picture of only that. That's not telling any sort of story. It's very utilitarian, right? Like people might buy it for sure, but it's not helping anyone really convey their story. But if you were to just do simple things like, okay, what is this person trying to do? Who is this person? Well, it's someone that loves the color pink. It's someone that loves jewelry. It's someone that loves champagne. It's somebody that loves roses. You could easily put those things around it. But if you're like, I'm shooting for a man might need this. So maybe it's a male photographer. I'm going to put a camera there, a digital camera. I'm going to put some other things that you might need, like a leather notebook. I'm going to put a cup of coffee, or there's just so many ways that you could style just this one thing to tell a million different stories. And it's just more helpful and rich to the end consumer that buys it.
Geez, so all these questions that I came up with for our interview today didn't really have a lot to do with like styled shooting, like the styling behind the scenes, because I guess I'm just very ignorant about stock photography. And suddenly I have so many more questions. So I'm telling you right now, you're going to come back to the podcast. We're definitely going to do another one of these because this is I have so many more questions and you're being so helpful. I love this.
Oh, well, and I'll just talk all day. So you cut me off when I need to be cut off.
It's just what a podcast host wants. I love it. I want to talk now a little bit about the business side of things, right?
Yeah.
I want to know, how does your business work? Because you talked earlier about uploading some photos to stock photo sites before deciding to change. Can you touch upon the different ways to make money through stock photography and then how you do it?
Yeah. Okay, there's so many different ways. And when people start asking me, like, what do I choose? Like, what do I do first? So my journey was I went to Creative Market. It was brand new when I had found it.
And that's
it
a
was,
website?
and actually, it's a website. Yeah. They sent me an invitation, actually. I didn't know what they were. And so initially my idea was, because Etsy had been around for a while and people had just started using it for digital products. And I was like, I'll just upload my photos there. But then I got an email from Creative Market saying, hey, we are this community of creators. It's a marketplace. We're going to put all sorts of digital goods on there. We would love for you to be a part of it. And I was like, awesome. Yeah, this is perfect. So I started a shop and I put all of my stock photos there. And I would do, so when I first started, it would be like one product and I would have the same layout, but maybe 3 different images of that. So I'd have maybe one flat lay, which would be like a computer keyboard, like some pens and some like an office setting, really.
Gotcha.
But it's like a flat lay, which is just flat on the ground or flat on a table. You take a photo. And then I would do that kind of same similar thing, but vertically. So you could use that same image either in portrait or landscape. And then I would do some sort of another, like I would take those same props and kind of arrange them a certain way and then take one more photo that could be cropped as a square. And that was like one product. So it'd be like $19 and you'd get those 3 photos, right?
I see. Okay.
And so I did that for a while and I did more and more of them. And so I would change out color schemes. I would change out things. I would add florals. I would definitely have specific themes for them, each different product. And so I had that for, I think it was maybe 6 months and it was going really well. So the first month I made like $75 the first time I just threw some stuff on there. And I was like, cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Back then that was a lot of money. I was like, awesome. I can buy like 2 more CF cards. And, I was just so excited. And then and because I didn't do anything else, right? Like I had made these photos for my blog. I had posted them on my blog. It served its purpose. But then I made an extra like $75 there. Like, yes,
score,
100%. We'll do this again. So the next month I did it and I made like $150. And I was like, okay, this might be like a real thing. That like takes the place of, what it pays for my gas. Like, this is so awesome. And the next month I made $350. And then I just kept kind of snowballing. And I had a month where I made like $1,200.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is the real thing. Like, this could be a real business.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize that it was such a big deal.
How long ago was that, by the way?
Oh, this was in like 2015,
okay.
I think. And since then, by the way, there's people on Creative Market. I've gotten emails that are like, celebrate this $1 million seller. A woman, Nikki Lotz, made $1 million on fonts. She just makes fonts.
On fonts. Oh, that's
$1 million
so cool.
in sales. It's
that's
amazing.
So cool.
And it's great because I feel like why you would go to a marketplace first is, I tell people, if you don't have an audience, you have to find a place that has one. So yes, Creative Market takes a commission off of my sales. They take 30% of the sales. I keep 70. It's great, whatever. Etsy, same thing. They'll take a vig off of what you sell and then you make the rest of the money. And so some people automatically like, well, I'm just going to put them in my own shop. And I've tried that. Like, I did that for a while. They did not sell because I didn't have the people, right? Yeah. If you have a huge audience, like someone like Jenna Kutcher or someone like Jasmine Star or someone like,
sell them on their website.
They have a huge audience, they can engage. But if you don't have that, if you've not spent the time to build the people, you have to go where the people are.
Yeah.
And so the people are on Etsy, the people are on Creative Market. They have already gathered human beings there that are already searching for the things you might have to offer. So I would all the time recommend people go to Creative Market first. Like, I love Creative Market over Etsy because Etsy does sell like handmade goods, and so it's kind of like a split divided audience where Creative Market is a focused in audience. They're looking for digital products. And I think like the money that I spend on Creative Market, like I spend with other people because I'm a business owner and I might need what they're selling to sell my stuff. So
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What do you mean?
Right. So if you're a font designer, so Nikki Lotz, when she creates her fonts, she still needs to create promos for them. She still needs to sell them on Instagram. She still needs to put them on Facebook. She still needs to make those promo images for Creative Market. So where is she buying those photos? Probably on Creative Market.
Probably, yeah, I see.
Right?
I see.
And so same thing with me when I'm doing these stock photos. If I need to make a promo graphic and I need a really cool like script font, I'm going to buy Nikki Lotz's. So I feel like there's a lot of like business to business happening just within the platform, let alone someone who just discovers Creative Market and is buying the products.
Okay.
I think it's a lot of B2B and not just B2C.
Right. No, that totally makes sense in my brain. I see that connection.
Yeah.
So how did it transform into what it is today? Because today you're not, or are you still selling on Creative Market?
I have just a couple of products in my original shop, but actually I just brought in some interns and we are shifting and we are going to make two different new Creative Market shops starting in 2019. And they're going to be focused, they're going to be hyper niche. So one's going to be just for podcasters because I looked at my numbers and my biggest seller in my Creative Market shop was a podcast collection that I created. I had two and those sold very well. People that are starting podcasts that need graphics for social media, that need their profile photo. So it's going to be really focused and tailored to people that are going to be doing podcasting and not just stock photos, but it's going to be any kind of digital good that they might need. So like Instagram stories and graphics, all the things that you might need to promote your podcast. So, and that's one. And then the other one's just focused on Instagram. So it's going to be Instagram 9 grids, which I sell in my shop now. So it's like 9 images that all fit together with graphics, with the color palette. So it's almost like a branded collection of things that you might need for Instagram. So those are going to be the two different shops instead of trying to throw everything in one that I have right now.
Okay, so I'm sure there are people listening right now wondering why people would buy photos for their own Instagram. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
Same thing. So say I'm a floral designer and I sell photos. I sell floral design, and I have a camera, but I don't have a lot of time to do photos because I'm so busy trying to like meet with these brides and do all the things and go to the events and network and do all that. You just don't have a lot of time to sit there and create content all day, edit them, and then plan and do them on Instagram. It's much easier for you then to say like, and plus it might not be just things that you have, right? You don't want to just put flowers on your Instagram account.
Right.
If you're a floral designer, I teach an Instagram course and I do Instagram management for clients. And one of the things I tell them is like, Instagram is your personal magazine. You don't go buy a magazine about weddings and every page is a floral picture. Like that's not how it works. If you open Martha Stewart Weddings, there's a rich story there. There's photos of the brides and there's photos of the vendors and there's photos of a million different things in that magazine, but it's all telling the same story, even within that one article, right? Maybe it's one wedding in Sonoma and it is at some barn. It's still not the same photo over and over. But these people that are doing like floral design, they're just sharing their bouquets over and over and over. And you're like, cool, but that's not what Instagram's for.
Yeah.
It's an art gallery. So they might purchase something that's, someone holding a coffee cup standing behind a bunch of bougainvilleas, and they might talk about something that happened in their business or that they're really excited about this new wedding coming up. It's still fitting into what they're sharing already, but it's taking that visual to a different place and making it more interesting for somebody that's consuming their content and just telling a richer story.
Yeah. Bougainvillea. That sounds so cool. That's like something I want some of those in my backyard. I don't even know what it looks like.
Don't ever put those in your backyard. They are the worst. They are the worst ever.
I'll take your advice. Yeah. But it's kind of interesting because what I first thought of is that as a wedding photographer, I try to tag hairstylists on Instagram, like in some of my photos, and every hairstylist Instagram is exactly the same. It's just photos of the back of the head, like just the hair. And I look and I don't know if it's just because I'm a male and I'm not looking for, like, I don't know what it is that I'm looking at, but I just see like a lot of hair and I see no personality in any of these Instagrams. Like, cool, here's a portfolio, but who are you? What do you stand for? That makes a lot of sense. I love that. So I could suddenly see why they would do that.
Say that. Yeah, because I have a client right now that she's a hairstylist and we're like, okay, after this, we're doing a whole shoot here at my office because it's like she needs some. I'm like, your Instagram is literally your client's hair every time.
Yeah,
that's fine. But it's time to make a shift and do something different. And you're going to turn this into a lifestyle because I don't know if you've heard this saying before, but Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about how every business is a media company now. No matter what you do, no matter what you sell, you are a content creator. People have to learn your story and you have to storytell on a daily basis to end up even getting the chance to sell what you have to sell.
We're just lucky as photographers to have this tool to be able to tell that story. But a lot of other people, like hairstylists, they don't have
the skill. Exactly. And so that's why stock exists. Right? Because everyone has to do the storytelling bit, but not everybody has the skills or the time or anything to be able to take these photos and do this visually. So that's why my business worked, is because people just needed these for their businesses.
So cool. Oh man, I'm getting so excited about this. I'm getting so excited.
You need to open one. Like if you don't have one right now, you will by the end of this year. I'm telling you.
I hate to say this. I have so much on my plate right now. I love this idea. This is going on my brain dump board in Trello for sure. I want to know, like, where do you get your ideas for like new photos though? Because like you said, you can shoot everything from like an office of like somebody yelling maybe at an office to little puppies playing to just like very close-ups of a computer with some like paper clips next to it. Where do you get ideas for new stock photos?
So for me, I've always been very self-serving. I'm like, cool, I have this because I have a separate business, right? Like I do love photography and this digital product is helping people and making money, but I also have a business of my own where like I still create content on Instagram. I'm still writing blog posts. Like I still need photos.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of stuff that I need, that and that I love because I think that when you're a photographer, why would you not shoot what you love? If you don't love it, it's going to be a pain in the ass. Like just do what you love, shoot what you love, shoot what you're into, shoot what makes you happy. But at the end of the day, too, someone has to buy these unless you're happy to just make this a hobby. But if someone's going to buy them, I like to look for clues. So it's what is selling. For me, the reason why I chose to do a whole collection or a whole shop of podcasting is because my podcast images just sold. I see that that is a growing industry. Like it's starting to have a resurgence of people that want to start podcasts. There's a need that needs to be met. So
100%.
but I could do it in a way where I do love it, right? I'm not ever going to shoot podcast photos in a way where it's going to be like draining for me. I'm definitely going to make it my style. I'm going to make it my flair. I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to make it look how I want it to look, but it's filling that need. The second thing is that if I look and see who's buying my images the most, you can see that. You can track that in Creative Market. And you can track that in other ways too, right? If you're no matter what you're selling on, like I sell a subscription as well for stock photos, and I can see like who's been with my subscription the longest. And I can just go to my best customers and ask them like, hey, what do you need? What are you looking for? What do you need in your business that I can create for you? And I don't have to do it, but if I'm like, I'm trying to fill a gap, like I have these collections planned, but I don't have anything for this month, you want to give a suggestion? And they're happy to throw out suggestions.
And that makes sense. That makes sense.
Totally.
But if somebody's like brand new to stock photography, how would you suggest they do their own form of market research?
What I would do is I would find 10 people that you really like on Instagram.
Okay.
I would be like, okay, I like their vibe. I love what they're sharing already on Instagram. And I want to create content that looks like that. And it can be anyone. It doesn't have to be like someone who might buy your stuff. It just might be someone who you're like, I love what they're sharing and I want to do something similar. I would DM them and be like, hey, I'm starting a stock photography company and I really want to create content that looks like and feels like you. Like I love your vibe. I love what you're doing. If you were to buy these, and you don't have to, I'm going to actually send them for you for free. What would you want? Champagne glasses. Oh, Thanksgiving's coming up. I would love if you took pictures of like cranberries because I'm doing this cranberry and orange thing that, whatever.
Yeah.
Like they'll tell you, just ask for help, but you have to find the people that you really love their vibe already. And then you don't have to give them free stuff, but I mean, people are way more likely to help you if you give them free stuff. And then who cares? You can throw that into a shop. Like, hello.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Totally don't miss out on that opportunity for sure.
No, and I do this. I do this all the time. I've been doing this for years and years and years, but there'll be people that I find I give free stuff away constantly, all the time. Because why wouldn't I? And when I'm asking for people's feedback and help, like, oh, I love this vibe, or oh my gosh, I found this new Instagram account and I love how she shares cocktails. Let's create a shoot kind of based on that. Like I look for inspiration and then just recreate it in my own vibe and flair.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I saw this Instagram, and I never have my phone near me, obviously, when we're doing podcasts, but
Right.
this Instagram, the whole thing, what it was just like styled anything, crayons, like candy,
Right.
beads, all this stuff, but it was like styled in like geometric shapes. That's all
I've
that
seen
it
that.
was. It was
Yes.
so cool. I've never
So
seen anything
cool.
like this before, but obviously this creator, I don't know if it's a photographer, I don't even know what they do. They could just be like a random student who just makes these things on the side, but like they found a thing that they love to do, and obviously people enjoy it as well. So
and it's so niche, right? Like it's something that's
exactly.
so unique, and you don't see that everywhere. And I think that's the big thing is like, look where you can pivot. Find ideas where you can pivot and find something like that can give you inspiration and be like, okay, cool, I can do that. Something similar to that, but in this way.
Yeah.
And that can totally make you stand out.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. I want to dive into that a little bit more because
For sure.
just looking at that person's Instagram, now this is not comparing apples to apples here, but he had some sponsored posts like from Skittles. They sponsored a post.
Oh, yeah.
From like Chapstick, I think. So like this person's making money through their Instagram.
Yes.
Probably a significant amount of money. I think he had like 2 million followers or something too. It was like insane. It was insane. And we talked a little bit about like niching down on what it is, being super focused. But to somebody who's first starting out, I'm sure that they don't have this idea of like, you know what, I'm just going to take pictures of colorful geometric shapes in the hopes of getting sponsorships. So do you recommend starting out people just shoot everything, or should they start being very focused?
I recommend on shooting everything, but you don't have to share everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like shoot a bunch of stuff, see what you like, and it might take you, and give yourself like a deadline. So treat it like school, right? Be like, okay, this quarter, I'm really going to focus on just shooting anything and everything. I just want to get in the vibe. I'm going to throw everything in a creative market shop, because in creative market there you can decide what you're going to be, what kind of a shop. And if you are just like stock photos, you can just throw them up for $2.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe you don't make that much money on them, because who cares? But then when you're like, after that 3 months, I really realized that I love taking photos of food. Like food photography is my jam. Cakes in particular. I don't know what it is about cakes, but I'm just into it and I love it. Start a separate account where you just sell cakes,
That's great.
and then you start a separate Instagram if you want. And then you can take the one down. Like I've done a lot this year of taking things down. Like I'm ready to clear my plate, clear my mind, and refocus on other things. But I made the money that I made and it was great. Like I made the money I needed. I pulled the money I needed out of whatever it is I had done for a while. I don't need to sell those for the rest of my life if I don't want to. And they always exist forever. So in 9 months, you can put them back on. Like,
Okay,
it's great.
so that brings me to my next question, which is why would you take those down? You said that you made your money off of them. Why not just leave them up and let them continue to bring in an income?
For me, I'm going to streamline my brand this year. I feel like I said yes to so much this year, and there's so much going on. And it's just one more thing that I'm like, it's just kind of exists there. And I had somebody 3 or 4 months ago that was like, hey, I just bought this thing from you and I saw it come through my PayPal, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. And it was something like ridiculous. It was like $2. It was literally something that was nothing. And I was like, I have no idea what you bought, but let me refund you your money, because I don't even know where to find that. like it was some like banner that I had designed like 100 years ago, and I was like, okay, that right there, I like don't want to spend my like brain power on that. Like I want to bring it all down, bring everything, like clear out my plate, and just refocus and focus all my energy on these things. And for sure, like if it's going, my big strategy is like, hey, next Black Friday, maybe I throw all of those things up and put them back on for sale. And so they exist still. I can just offer them at certain times and just test out and see how that works, you know?
A big bundle or something like that.
For sure. Like buy my whole shop for $100 or something, you know, like, so those things. And again, I have them forever. There's nothing wrong with maybe in a year if I'm like, you know, I really kind of miss having those $15 sales every so often, you know, like that come through. I can put my shop back on. Like I can put every single photo I've ever created. I still have them on a hard drive. Like I can throw them back all up on another shop and do it again. Like I could do whatever I want with them for the rest of my life.
Going back to the whole, we're more willing to spend money on our business than we are on our family. Recently, I found this resource of like, it's like photography tutorials and education and stuff like that. And like each one is like, it's not that expensive. It's pretty cheap. It's really reasonable. It's like 10 to 15 bucks or whatever. But they have thousands of them. I mean, so many that you just think like, I could never go through all this. But I just got an email from them saying that they're selling their whole store. Like you could buy everything that they sell. And it was listed at like $17,000, and they were selling it for like $499. And I was like, that's a deal. And I like, for half a second, I really thought about purchasing that. When in reality, I'm trying to think of anything like in my life right now that I'd spend $400 on that's not like a camera or like something that we need around the house. And it's nothing. It's nothing.
You would never do that. Like it makes no sense. Yeah. That's what happens to you when you become a business owner is you're like, you won't spend money on your personal life. Like it's just weird, you know?
It is weird. It's weird. I was watching this documentary a long time ago on Enron and like how they failed or whatever. But the CEO of Enron apparently like at work took out like the coffee machines. No more free coffee, everybody. It costs us like 14 cents to give you coffee. So no more free coffee. We're putting in coffee vending machines. Like he was like that strict on the dollar, right, to make money. But yet in his own life, he was buying like, I mean, he had like landscaped his entire house. He bought the 2 houses next to him to create like Japanese gardens next door. And it's like, that's kind of the opposite here.
Totally.
That guy
that's
was just
somebody
crazy.
That's someone who doesn't like love their job, you know, like love what they're building. That's like the whole difference is I feel like photographers.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah. It's like so hard. We just love it. If we didn't love it, we wouldn't do it. Yeah. It's hard. And so anyone that's doing this and doing it as a business, it is because they can't not do it.
Perfect.
They just love it.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
That's so strange. I thought that I was the weird one for a while. Like, I'm more willing to spend money on my business than in my personal life.
Yeah, I don't know one photographer that wouldn't do that. Like, I don't know one photographer that goes anywhere, even like Disneyland. I went to Disneyland last weekend for a day with my husband, and it was great. My husband's like, you don't need your camera. I'm like, I'm sorry. Why do you think I'm here?
Yeah, this is a
I'm
business expense.
This is for my business. Like I'm creating content. What are you talking about? Like I never go anywhere without my camera. Nowhere.
Right.
Never, ever. Like it's just part of me now, It's
So
just
you're obviously taking photos everywhere all the time. You even
yep.
just talked about how you have so many photos that sometimes you have to take them down. I want
Hmm.
to know a little bit about the organization. How do you keep everything organized on your
Yeah.
computer so that you know where everything is?
Yeah, I use Dropbox heavy, heavy, heavy. It's like my lifeline. And
Mhm.
so I have Dropbox folders and then of course I back everything up. So I have like terabytes and terabytes of hard drives from, wherever. But I do keep everything really organized in my Dropbox folders. And I do, so like I told you before, I have a stock brand subscription that I've had for a while. And I've transitioned that even from a subscription where it's paid monthly, where it's just a one-time lifetime purchase in the library. And actually, those are all being retired as well because we are bringing something completely different. So again, I might bring that back. Like I might next Black Friday be like, hey, the stock brand library is back. It's literally like almost 2,000 images at this point,
Wow.
where you get for like a one lifetime membership fee. So it makes sense, right, when I do those big bundles, but I keep everything in Dropbox folders. And so it's like the subscriptions in one, creative markets in another, and then I put them by either products folders. Like my subscription is collected by months. And so it'll be like September 2015. Here's all the images. October. And it's very organized because I got a lot of things rolling in my life. And so it has to be very like you would die if you saw my Dropbox folder.
Because it's so
Crazy.
organized?
It's so like there's so many like layers to the folders.
Oh, I see. I see.
It's insane.
You know,
Like
that's how my brain works too. That's
yeah,
exactly how my brain works. So as you're describing this, I was like, that makes sense. That absolutely
yeah.
makes sense. What about like in Lightroom? Do you keep everything? Do you edit your photos within
I
Lightroom?
do. I do edit them in Lightroom. Yep. I keep them. I actually, Jana of Twiggy Post, she's the one that showed me this methodology. I had different catalogs for every single like month that I was shooting. And
Oh my
she's like, what are
gosh.
you doing?
Yeah.
Don't do that. She's like, put everything in one catalog and then you do collections. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh, okay. Yeah. And so now everything is just in one Lightroom collection, or I mean, one catalog. And then I just do separate collections. So I have one stock brand subscription collection. And then each month when I create content, it's in those folders. So everything is very like, as tight as I can get them organized. That way I can easily find things.
That makes sense. That totally
Hmm.
makes sense because I can't even imagine. You said that just your one service has more than 2,000 photos.
Hmm.
Um, and if you're doing them in groups of like 5 or 3,
It's just so much.
that's a
Yeah.
lot of different collections, a lot of different
A lot.
collections. I want to know now a little bit about the gear, right?
Yeah.
So with wedding photography, with landscape photography, everything is different, right? What
Hmm.
is some of the gear that you need to get started with stock photography?
Yeah. I love it because it's very, very entry level. Any camera, I'm not even kidding you, you could shoot on a phone.
Mhm.
And then it depends on the kind that you want to shoot, but I suggest everyone start with flat lays because it's the easiest to control. I would get just a piece of white foam core board at Hobby
Like a craft
Lobby
store, yeah.
or a craft store. Yep. And just make it big enough to kind of look like a tabletop. That's it. And find a window. So you find a window, you try to get your light right. It's going to take a lot of experimenting depending on do you shoot warm? Do you shoot cool? You definitely don't want hot spots. You don't want direct light. So you might need to get some shears on your windows just depending on how intense the light is and where you're shooting. I shot on my back patio for years and years and years.
Just because the
That
light was the best there?
Yeah, the light was the best and it wasn't fancy. It was the perfect setup for me because it was kind of covered shade.
Hmm.
So like open shade really is what worked for me, but it just depends on how you like your photos. If you're heavy filters and you want it dark and moody, it's going to be different for everybody, but it's very simple setup. Like you can do it with whatever you want. I shoot with a Canon Mark II, a 5D Mark II, and I've a 50 millimeter. I've shot with that for the whole time I've done stock photos. That's
Wow.
it.
That
Yeah.
is really pretty basic, pretty like minimal
So
setup.
basic. So basic.
So what about now? We talked there. You just said that you can just find a good like window and have it lit that way. But do you use any sort of lighting gear extra? Is there like what's
Nope.
the next step? You shoot everything
I
with open
I
window light.
only shoot natural light. I
That
do
is so
not
cool.
shoot with lighting. That's
That
all
is
I
so
do.
cool.
And you can, like, plenty of people, you can do what you want. If you love the lighting system and setup, I was like, no, I just want this to be as low key as I can make it, and I can shoot anywhere. I could do this anywhere. I could go on vacation and have a foam core board there that even folds out, or I could use a tabletop if there's like a beautiful table there. Like I could do anything. I could do it wherever I am.
I'm gonna have to find this email and send it to you. But there's a well-known, I think it's like a printing company who I get my prints from. They just sent me an email that now they make lay flat, like like you can roll up this like
Ooh.
beautiful lay flat thing, and it's like it's made for weddings because like you style the jewelry and the shoes and whatever
Oh yeah.
all in one place. And sometimes if it's like gross hotel carpet and that's all that you have, you just bring
Yes.
this. It's in like a roll up thing. It looks really nice, and they got a bunch of different varieties.
Oh,
I'll
I
have
have
to
to find
send it
that.
to you because that would be perfect like for vacation. Just take it with you.
Totally.
You got all this stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's the best.
When it comes to stock photography, I know that a lot of people probably don't aspire when they first like pick up that camera, like, wow, this is great. I want to become a stock photographer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in the beginning, it's because they see like, oh, portraits, like I can see my child's face and it's very, very like fulfilling creatively. Do
Mm-hmm.
you get that same creative fulfillment from stock photography?
Oh yeah, 100%. I do. And then that's just me. Everyone's different for sure. And so if you're like super into people, my whole thing though is storytelling. Like that's been the driving factor of photography for me for my whole life. No matter who I was shooting, what I was shooting, it was like, how can I tell a story? How can I convey a story in just images through this? And as long as I'm doing that, I'm fulfilled. Like I've definitely been to something where they're like, take photos of my real estate company, and it is the people, and I'm like, this is the worst because it's just, because it's just like they're not telling a story. It's just take pictures of us. They don't care. And so I'm like, this was not what I like doing. It's instead, I would love to find a realtor where we can go in her office and talk about her life and like show pictures of her with her kids and like with a client and in front of a house that she just sold, where that's storytelling. But just like showing up at a real estate office and people standing there in a row and just taking those pictures is like, that's just not what I want to do. So stock, I feel like gives you the opportunity to control your environment in a way where you can make it as creative, as minimal, as intricate as you want. You can do whatever you want with it. So I for sure get the same. Like it's definitely my favorite form of photography by far. It's just so fun. And it takes the longest. Like I can rock out a portrait shoot so quick, but when I do styled stock, it's like I always see 10 more shots that I could get. And so I'm always like, no, we're going to stay a little bit longer and do this one thing. And, oh, can you run to Trader Joe's and get me these things because I'm missing these oranges that I need? It's just, I get so into it and it's so fun, and you can just make it as long of a story or short of a story as you want.
I'm not sure that before this interview I would have thought of stock photography as storytelling, because I think, at least for me, every time I've seen stock photography, it's always just like one photo. And
Totally.
I guess sometimes like you can tell the story like within that stock photo, because sometimes there's like
Yeah.
extra emotion, right?
Yeah.
But the way that the way that you're describing it, the way that you have even changed your business just to package photos together to be able to tell a better story is wonderful. It's really cool to hear because, like I said, I think you would traditionally think of storytelling as like with people and not like
Right.
paper clips, a rose, and a computer keyboard. But clearly, like you're doing it and you found that. And I just want to tip my hat to you because that's cool that you found this and that you've made it your own for sure.
Yeah, it's the best.
If you had to do it all over again, like from the beginning, you had to start today, picking up that camera for the first time. To get to where you are today, is there anything that you would have done different to get here faster?
No, I don't know. I feel like it came fast enough, like, I don't know. Like I had so many different things that I was doing. So I had the shop and I had some stuff on my website and my own WooCommerce shop, and I had my subscription. I just tested stuff. Like I'm a tester. So I'm going to try it for a while. If it doesn't seem like it's working, let's try something different. Let's make shifts. And I would just encourage people to just freaking start. Like I started right away because I'm just a fast starter and tester, like I said, but not everybody's like that. And so I think that the only reason I am where I am and I got to be to this place is because I tried different things. So the one thing that I might have changed was maybe dedicate more time to customer service. So for me, like I said before, it was very self-fulfilling. Like it was stuff that I needed and I put it on the shop and I was like, if people buy it, people buy it. But I wish I maybe would have taken more time to engage with those customers a little bit more and been like, thank you so much. What else can I create for you? Or even get in touch with them more and be like, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but I thought because you bought this might work better for you. Just maybe starting that client like care a little bit earlier and more intentionally. That's what I would focus on the humans that are buying your stuff a little bit more, for sure.
Do a little bit more of that market research because ultimately they're the people buying your work.
Yeah. Well, and just treating them like humans, right? Like a lot of us think so much of the numbers. So just our Instagram followers or our number of sales, and we're like, this is awesome. They're giving us money, but like they're human beings at the end of this, right? And so just treating them like humans and like you would any person that's walking up and buying something new, if it was in your hand, you would engage with them. You would thank them. If you saw them on the street, you would remember them and talk to them. And digitally, we lose that. And so I would just like to get to a place where we're doing the same things. We're showing up similarly as we would in real life.
Just when you said that you gave me a really good idea that I'd love to share with you after we get off this.
Yeah.
Because I think anyway, okay. Well, we'll get into that here in just a second.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste the listeners' time with me sharing this.
Totally.
Why don't you tell the listeners, because you've been super, super gracious with your time today. We've gone, once again, like always, I don't know why I keep doing this. We go way over our allotted time. But can you tell the listeners where they can find you online, and if they want to know more about you and stock photography, where they can find that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at rosemarywatsonproductions.com. That's my website. On Instagram at Rosemary Watson, or my Facebook page. It's Rosemary Watson Productions as well. And there's going to be links to all the things. I do more than just photography. I do all kinds of stuff, and it's really intensely complex, I feel like, to explain here. And so just find all the links to all my things on those platforms.
Perfect. And of course, I'm going to link to each and everything that you talked about today, including the $1 Million Seller, in the show notes of today's podcast. So if you're interested and you're driving, just head over there and find all the links. Rosemary, is there anything that I didn't ask you today that you want to make sure that the listeners know?
The only thing I would leave with is just start one. It's never going to hurt you. You are a photographer. If you're listening to this, you're a photographer. You have photos. I know you have photos. So why not find 10 of your favorites, throw them up somewhere, whether that's Etsy, Creative Market, your own Facebook page, I don't care where. But just start getting the practice. Doing this imperfectly is going to get you closer to the perfect. So just start.
That's so great. That's so great. I was just writing down that, like, beginners, usually, if they're not working with clients, they have time. They have time. And this is the perfect time to not only practice your skills as a photographer, but potentially make a few dollars on the back end. So,
and find out what you love. Like, you don't get the opportunity sometimes. It's like clients that might be sticky or picky or whatever to do the things that you're really passionate about. If you love cars, if you love cupcakes and cars, that could be a whole thing. Like, it could be a whole shop, you know what I'm saying? And maybe some of your clients aren't going to want pictures of cars. So this gives you the opportunity to do what you want to do.
I don't think that we could have left on a better note than that. So again, Rosemary, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I'm so looking forward to keeping up with you and checking out the new stock images that you keep coming up with in your store. So again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you.
All right. Huge thank you to Rosemary for coming on the podcast and sharing everything that she did. Here is today's action item from this interview with Rosemary Watson, and it is this: to create a visual story through your photos. All photos can be more than just snapshots if you bring intention to them. So what does that mean? So what I want you to do is to think of a simple story that you want to tell through some photos. Maybe it's your morning routine, or maybe you have an afternoon coffee shop ritual. Maybe you're in this phase of life like I am, where your daughter has softball 4 days a week. Whatever it is, I want you to create a series of images that evoke different parts of that story. Focus on the emotion and the mood that you want to convey, and ask yourself, okay, what visual elements will I need to achieve that? For me, life feels extremely hectic at times, especially getting everything ready for softball. So one visual element that I might include is a slow shutter speed. Having a slow shutter speed, something like, 1/15 of a second, will ensure that my daughter's motion is exaggerated, looking like it's just pure chaos going on and things are moving everywhere. So again, ask yourself, what visual elements will you need to achieve to get the emotions or the mood that you want? And then just take a handful of photos. Simply review those photos and then adjust the images to ensure that they do tell a cohesive story. And then go ahead and share them in the free and amazing Beginner Photography Podcast community, which you can join right now by heading over to beginnerphotopod.com/group. We would love to have you, and we'd love to see your images as well. So that is it for today. Until next time, remember, the more that you shoot today, the better of a photographer you will be tomorrow. Talk soon. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Beginner Photography Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend. Start a conversation. Grow together. That is it for this week. Remember, the more that you shoot today, the better of a photographer you will be tomorrow. Talk soon.
Thank you for listening to the Beginner Photography Podcast. Keep shooting, and we'll see you next week.